Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. It is Friday, March the 6th, 2026. We're in the third briefing of the year. First one, of course, was in January. You'll find that online on our YouTube channel. And I recommend that you go to that briefing first. The name of that briefing is Getting Started Right here in 2026. And every year, in January, we start the same way. We encourage people to remind themselves as to why we come together, what it is we're hoping to accomplish here, what your role is, and what my role is. And that you will find on the January 2026 briefing on our YouTube channel. And then we go to the February briefing where more important information was shared about the strategies that we've been deploying over the course of the last few months. So I encourage you to catch up on that one as well. And of course, here you are today in March. And let me tell you what it is that we're going to cover today. Well, the theme of the briefing today is to begin with the end in mind. We're going to be talking about the end, and that is the end of various things. Let me review some of them with you. First of all, the foundation with which you work towards the end. You always have to have a good foundation of any plan, any strategy, and of course, you'll find those as well on our YouTube channel under the NLB Essentials web playlist. You will see a playlist there of our videos. I'm going to tell you a little bit about those today just to kick it off because I want you to start there. We also want you to begin with the end in mind and make sure you've got a foundation of information related to the four pillars where you'll find the principles that we rally around when we come together here on the National Leadership Briefing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today to begin. And then we're going to get right into some of the examples of the ends that we have in mind. And first of all, we're of course going to talk about Election Day. That is an end. That is something we see on the horizon. That's something that we see coming at us. There will always be another election day, whether it's a federal election or a provincial election, a municipal election, a school board election, an electoral district association election, a delegate for convention election. There's always going to be another election on the horizon. So what we're going to do is we're going to start today with the end in mind. We're going to be looking at the next federal election and what it is that we have to do today to prepare to meet that challenge of casting an informed vote on the next federal election day. Then we're going to actually talk about your end, the end you have in mind for your life versus the end that others may have for your life. You see, there's a difference between the way you view your own end and the things that you want to achieve at the end of your life or towards the end of your life. There's a whole other group of people out there with a whole other group of agendas, and we're going to take a look at the end they have in mind for your life versus the one you have for your own. And that's an important thing to keep in mind because there's going to be forces that are going to be working with you and for you, and there will be those that are working against you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then, of course, I'm going to always, as I bring challenges to you like the opposing forces in the world, I'm also going to bring you critical information that you're going to require for you to succeed. So we're going to finish up the briefing here today with critical information that you're going to need. Specifically, I'm going to give you a list of 3 things that you're going to need to finish well and achieve that perfect end to your life that you're going to want. And as I say, I'm not going to be all things to all people today. I'm only going to give you my perspective. I'm going to share with you what Holy Spirit has shared with me. And I'm going to do it in a way I hope that you find encouraging and that in no way I rattle you up or rile you up. I know a couple of times we have over the last couple of months talked about various things that are challenging and they've caused some discomfort in people. I hope that's been something you've been able to work through and work with. But here you are back in a safe place on the March 2026 briefing, and we are going to have a very productive time here over the course of the next hour working on these things that I've laid out for you here on the agenda. So thanks so much for making the quality decision to join us today on the National Leadership Briefing. I look forward to serving you on the immediate road ahead, and strap in because it's going to be good. Okay, welcome back, and welcome to all of those that are new to the National Leadership Briefing. We know that it's kind of like jumping on a moving train when you get on the briefing, and what happens is oftentimes is for the first little while is maybe you're a little bit confused. You're not quite sure what it is that we're doing here, and we try to go slow enough to accommodate everyone, but at the same time we are in the middle of executing on different strategies, and we're working through things that we started a little while ago. So some of the things that you're going to be coming across, you're going to have to play a little bit catch up on, but don't worry, just be comfortable. If it's your first time on the briefing, I encourage you just to relax and maybe make a few notes. That it doesn't hurt. We're going to definitely send you the post notes after the briefing. If you're registered for the National Leadership Briefing, you always receive the notes from the briefing and any reference materials that we reference and speak about during the briefing. But it doesn't hurt to make a few notes and just refer back to them as you're following up and going to our YouTube channel and doing various things. And that's what I'm going to, of course, encourage you to do first. As I mentioned, we're going to start always with the foundation of understanding. If you are a citizen here and you want to raise your level of influence and you want to be a more effective citizen or constituent or parent or pastor or whatever it is that your goal is, I encourage you, just so that we're all on the same page, that everyone always starts in the same place. And that is on our YouTube channel with those NLB or National Leadership Briefing Essential Training videos. Again, I'm going to put it in the post-briefing notes, but really briefly here, I just want to tell you what you're going to be looking for if you go to our YouTube channel. There's a playlist there that has 4 videos in it. The first video is called the U Training video. And if you're going to engage with us on the National Leadership Briefing, it's important that you watch that very brief video because there are expectations on you. There are expectations that you have for me in relationship with you. And I want you to be very clear about what those are. So if you start there with the U Training video, you're going to find good information about what it is that we'd like you to be conscious and aware of about yourself being a part of this conversation. The second training video that you're going to see there is the Sphere Authority Training video. Sphere Authority Training simply gives you an understanding as to the various responsibilities that each sphere has in our society. We believe that there are various jurisdictional spheres or governments of our society. We define them there for you, and we speak about the jurisdictional limits of those authorities within those spheres. It's very, very important information because as we reference you or the family or the church or civil government, that it is those things existing within society in relationship with other spheres of authority or governments in society. So I encourage you strongly to start there as well. Watch that very brief video. Then you're going to see the Horizon training video. Now, the Horizon training video is especially important for you to know about today and to have watched, is because we're talking about not the ultimate end of our lives necessarily, but the points of time that we see off in the future on the horizon that we are preparing to deal with as that horizon or timelines moves closer to us. Things often appear to us on the distant horizon first, and we have all this kind of time to prepare. If it's a threat, we can prepare to defend against it on the immediate road ahead, or if it's an opportunity, then we can actually prepare ourselves to capitalize on the opportunity as it draws closer. Well, in one of the examples that we're going to be dealing with today, first of all, we're going to talk about the federal election that's upcoming. You might view that as an opportunity. We have an opportunity to have great influence on that day and to cast an informed vote and choice on E-Day. However, if we don't prepare for it, then we are going to miss that opportunity. And oftentimes, missed opportunities in politics turn out to be threats. So it starts out as an opportunity, but it ends up as a threat. So again, Horizon training video, it's really important that you watch that video because That video, again, will train you to lift your head up, raise your chin, and look at the horizon as opposed to all of the things that are at your feet that are really, quite honestly, they're already, if they're already at their feet or burning like a fire on your front doorstep, it's too late. You probably have waited too long to deal with it. So that those are the three National Leadership Briefing essential videos that I encourage you to watch. And then finally, there's the fourth one, which is the 4-pillar training video. Now, you need to know who it is that you're in relationship with. If you're brand new on the briefing, you need to know who we are. You need to know what it is that we believe, and you need to know who are your friends, who are your allies, and who are those that are working against you. We're not those people. We're not the ones working against you because we're very well defined in the 4-pillar training video. The 4-pillar training video lays out 4 very specific Christian principles that everyone here on the briefing agrees to and believes in and agrees to rally around as we come together. Really quickly, I'm not going to go into great detail because I want you to watch the video, but really quickly, here they are. The first pillar or principle that we rally around here on the briefing is that we believe parents have the right to raise their children the way that they want. We believe that parents should have the ultimate authority to raise their children, not civil government. So when you come on the National Leadership Briefing, you know that all of us that are here with you on the briefing agree with and share that same view that parents have the right to raise their children the way that they want. Now, the second pillar has to do with those that we elect to serve us in civil government. And it's exactly this wording that defines the second pillar. Those that we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. So if you are an elected official in our nation at any level of government, we have expectations of you. And those are that you must, it's not an optional thing, you must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. So it's not good that you just sit there and nod at us and go, yep, gotcha, freedom of religion, got your beliefs. No, it's when we are under attack or our beliefs are under attack or our religion is under attack, we expect you to rise in defense of us and our rights in that moment. So that's the second principle that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing, is that expectation of our civil government leaders. The third pillar that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing is that we believe that the laws and policies that are passed and enacted by our civil governments, again, whether it's a federal government, a provincial government, a municipal government, a school board that we've elected, or even electoral district associations, we believe that any policy or any law that is passed or enacted by them must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable that live among us in our communities. So we place high regard on the safety and security of vulnerable citizens, in particular in the communities that we live in, and you are, as our elected representatives, required to ensure that nothing you do, whether it's a policy or a law, endangers those people. Now, if you take a look at our recent history here in our nation of Canada, you can see egregious missteps by our civil government leaders in those areas. You can find very easily when you look at the euthanasia regime here in our nation, as Canada now becomes the #1 country in the world for ending people's lives with the assistance of doctors. You'll find that we're very good at it, and we have passed some very dangerous laws. So this is a priority for us all here on the National Leadership Briefing. And if you agree with that principle of providing for the safety and security of citizens, then you are in the right place and you're allied with people who share those views. Now, the fourth pillar that we rally around has to do with the future of our children and future generations of our nation. And that is that we believe that it is inappropriate for civil governments to spend money they don't have and put a burden of debt on the backs of our children and future generations. So fiscal responsibility is a mild way of putting it, but we believe that it is completely inappropriate to turn our children into bond servants of civil government and it basically creating a scenario where they lack options and flexibility to enjoy freedom in their lives because of the way you're spending money today as civil government leaders. So those are the four pillars. Again, parental authority, the expectation of civil government leaders to respect and defend our right of belief. Third pillar, of course, is the protection of the vulnerable. And the final pillar is that all important one about fiscal responsibility and the future of our children. So those are the principles that we rally around here on the briefing. We're thankful that you're here. We hope that those are aligned with your views. And we're going to teach you not only things on every briefing about what it is we're talking about in the moment, we're also going to teach you along the way as to how you can build coalitions of support around you locally using those four principles, those four Christian principles. So stick around. You're going to enjoy the ride. If you like those four pillars, if you find them appealing, again, you're going to enjoy what you experience here on the briefing. If you have any problems with those four, perhaps this isn't for you, and we won't take any offense if you drop off the briefing right now. That's not a problem at all. We're just really trying to build a coalition of support around very specific things here, and you're welcome here. So then what we'll do is for now, we're going to leave that, take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to start talking about that all important horizon point of what we're terming the end. And again, we're going to start on every one of these next examples that we talk about. We're going to start with the end in mind. So we're going to define the end. So in our first example, we're going to be taking a look at the federal election that's upcoming. We're going to review a strategy that we've deployed to prepare ourselves for that federal election and make sure we have maximum influence on election day as citizens of our nation. These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. We are looking at the end, which is, of course, our target out on the horizon, which is the next federal election. So if you're looking on a horizon right now, you know that eventually, it could be in the immediate horizon or it could be on the distant horizon. We don't know. We never know exactly. But in Canada, we will definitely have a choice to make on election day. We're definitely going to have that opportunity where we as citizens are going to be able to enter a lineup and walk into a polling station and receive our ballot and cast our ballot. Now, oftentimes what we find ourselves doing here in our nation is we take a look at it as if we're shopping off of a menu. We take a look at it as if we are given this list of choices on election day, and we actually then just pick something of what's available. It's like in a restaurant, if you're reading off of a menu, you might say, okay, well, fish or chicken, or beef or steak or whatever it is you'd like. That is not how we view elections here on the National Leadership Briefing. We don't wait until election day to just take a choice of whatever is available. If we want to have maximum influence here in our nation of Canada on election day, no matter, again, whatever level of government, whether it's federal, provincial, or municipal, if we have an opportunity to actually write the menu that we're going to be shopping off of later, we're definitely going to take advantage of that authority or that opportunity that we have. And we definitely do have that here in Canada as members of the Christian church. We can advocate on behalf of our beliefs as individual citizens and in groups. We can actually gather ourselves together and gather our authorities together, which is kind of what we're doing here on the National Leadership Briefing all the time, is we have our individual authority that we wield, but then when we come together and we speak with a unified voice, we have much greater influence. But we can wield that influence in advance of elections by advocating on behalf of the things that we believe in. Now, it is a definite step up in the requirement of action that you've got to take. I mean, I have to tell you that lining up on election day, taking your ballot, going to the ballot box, writing your X on the and dropping it in the slot, that is the path of least resistance for sure. So if you just want the easy way, if you just want to do it with the easiest, like someone can tell you who to vote for even. You don't even have to know who to vote for. Just stick around on calls like this, and who knows, maybe you'll kind of lean towards one way or another based on things that we tell you to do. Now, I'm not going to specifically ever tell you who to vote for, but I'm sure going to show you how to decide yourself. But there are people out there that do tell you who to vote for, and that is the path of least resistance. But what I'm going to suggest is that we do it the best way. So if the end we want on election day is that we want a government that is more Christ-like than less Christ-like. So in other words, if we want to have exercise the influence that we have as Christians in the conversations that take place at elections, we have to put in the work. We've actually got to do something. And that is where you and I get to make that all important decision as to whether we're willing to or not. Now, you could say, well, Doug, you're in the business of training and teaching and civics, and that's what you do. So that's what you do for a living. I'm busy. I got all these other things to do. Well, that actually, you could use that as an excuse to not do anything, but I'm unfortunately making it super easy for you because I'm only asking you for 1 hour of your time once a month leading up to the next election. That's all the National Leadership Briefing is I'm not asking for a bunch of your time. And the things that I ask you to do or suggest that you do as a citizen never take a lot of time. So I'm kind of going to take away that excuse from you right now. I don't want you to be walking away thinking you can use that one when it's not a very good one excuse. So let's assume that you're willing to put in the work and assume that I'm being honest when I say it's not going to take a lot of your time. Okay, I'm going to provide you a strategy that you can deploy and have maximum influence on what it is you're choosing at the next election. And it's not going to take you a lot of time or effort or energy or work. And you can still keep doing what you're doing and stay in your own lane. Does that sound fair? That sounds like a pretty fair deal to me. All right, so this is what we've been doing. So if you're brand new to the briefing, I'm going to catch you up real quick here. Is that we have a situation here in our nation where even the parties that we have normally supported in the past are kind of drifting away from what we believe as Christians. They're actually departing from some of the very foundational, fundamental principles and values that we consider important, and they're chasing support, we call it, from other people, assuming that even though they're leaving us and they're not representing our views and values or presenting them as options on election day, they're actually assuming that we're still going to vote for them because we have no one else to vote for. That really is what they consider to be credible governing alternatives to our current federal government. So if you imagine that you are someone in Canada who has Christian values right now, and you wait until the next election, and you just leave it to the political parties that are in existence now to decide what it is that they're going to present to you on as far as platform planks in the election, because that's what they're going to do. Is we're going to get closer to the election, and you're going to start seeing political parties coming forward with their plan to entice you to vote for them. But if the parties all believe that they kind of got you figured out already, and they know that you're going to either vote for them or not, no matter what it is that they say, then that's really going to be doing us a disservice here as Christians in our nation, because you will see, if we do nothing, we're going to get to election day and you're going to look at the menu and go, I don't really like any of these choices on the menu. That's what's gonna happen. Now, you may find though that there are some new and emerging parties that are kind of exciting because they're starting to talk about the things that you care about, and they're starting to make platform plank promises that if you elect them, that then they will represent your views and values. unfortunately, there's a period of time that it takes for brand new parties to ramp up and become what we call credible governing alternatives. So let's put some names on these parties. So you've got the Liberals who are entrenched and they have a pretty well defined support all across the nation. You've got the National Federal Conservative Party of Canada, who again it is the National Conservative governing alternative to the Liberals. That's the place. That's the place that they've earned by their efforts and by their work over the years, over the past 23 years since they've been in existence. And they are established. And then you've got other parties that are up and comers, right? You've got these other parties that are really trying to gain traction and they're building their infrastructure and doing all those things. That's all fantastic. But the reality is that on election day, you're going to have to make a choice between all of them, right? So let's take a look at where we might have our influence. Well, the influence that we've been working to advance is inside the Conservative Party of Canada. That's what we've been doing. And the strategy that we've deployed is the one that we feel will have the greatest result. Now, it's an aggressive strategy. Admittedly, it's an aggressive strategy because it involves us contacting our member of parliament, our Conservative member of parliament, and letting them know how dissatisfied we are with their current positions on various things that we believe in. So if you go back to the November, December briefings, if you go back to November 2025, December 2026, and then you go back to the February briefing of this year, you're going to see me talking all about all of these differences. I'll give you an example. Is the Federal Conservative Party, something that we believe in very strongly as citizens, is that life begins at conception. That babies are in the womb. You have a baby in the womb. That's what it is. So when you're talking about protecting babies in the womb as a Christian, and the elected representatives or the politicians that are running for office refuse to discuss any laws or policies related to protecting children in the womb, then that's a bit of a problem. So what we want to do is we want to say to our Conservative members of parliament and our Conservative candidates right now, we want to let them know right now, is that if you don't want to talk about those things at election time, and you don't want to establish these as platform planks, and you don't want to make any promises to us as Christians at election time related to the protection of children in the womb, we're not going to vote for you. And I know that sounds like that sounds so simple to me because I've told so many politicians that I'm not going to vote for them over time. I guess I'm used to it, but that's kind of new ground. That's kind of rare air for some people out there they feel that's kind of confrontational to say, "Hey, I don't support you," right? But the reality is that the very thing that they need to hear right now, especially in the Conservative Party of Canada, is they need to hear that we're not going along. They definitely need to hear that. Now, I'm gonna back up one piece here because I think it's important that you know this, okay? I know there's a lot of voices out there right now. I know there's a lot of people talking in your ear. You've got lots of people that you can listen to. Everybody does that scrolling, doom scrolling, I think they call it, and they're constantly hearing different views on as to what people think. Okay, I'm only giving you my opinion, but my opinion is based on being in relationship with these guys for the last 23 years. Like I have known all these guys for an awful long time within the Conservative Party of Canada. And I can tell you that nothing else matters. Nothing else is more important as far as what they need to hear from you as a Christian in Canada right now than this. They need to hear you say, "I'm not coming along. I am not going to vote for you. I'm not going to volunteer for you. I'm not going to give you money. I am out." Now, what they also need to hear, though, is that you're willing to negotiate, that you're willing to, hey, if you want to throw some really great platform planks up there that I can consider and I can review that have to do with the things that I believe in and care about, like protecting children in the womb or protecting grandma from premature euthanasia death or stopping the gender craziness out there with and the chemical castrations of kids and all those. These are just some of the things that I believe in, but you can always hold up your Bible and just go, hey, if you're wondering about what it is I believe in and it's all in here. You can, yeah, and just be really kind about it. But for some reason, some people think that's confrontational. Again, I don't think it's confrontational, maybe because I've been around it, but you might think it is. But no matter where you're at, I just want you to know that that is the only thing they need to hear from you right now. As we prepare on this road leading up to the next election, they need to hear you say, I'm out. And they also need to hear you say, but I'm willing to negotiate. So this is what we've been promoting for you to do. So if the end in mind is that you want a nation that is governed by a government, a federal government that is more Christ-like, and you have an opportunity to exercise influence now in creating whatever those governments' promises are going to be that they're going to make for you or to you at election time, then that is the only thing that you're going to be able to, that's going to move the dial, is for you to remove your support, but be willing to give it back under certain circumstances. That is just my take on it right now. Now, if you want to take it one step further in just thinking out to the end here, is that as we get closer to the federal election, as we get closer to the date of the next federal election, we're going to know whether they have actually heard you or not. You and I are going to stay in relationship. We're going to monitor the Conservative Party of Canada. I'm going to keep meeting with my guys in the party. You're going to keep meeting with your elected representatives and your candidates out there. We're going to keep talking about it, but you're going to find out as we get closer to Election Day as to whether or not they've listened to you or they've actually taken you seriously. And if they don't, we may have to cross that bridge when we get to it as well. We may have to arrive at a moment in time where we're looking and we're going, look, they're just not coming around. We offered them the carrot. We actually said, hey, we want to support you. Give us something to support. Show us that you see that we're here. Show us that you're not just assuming we're going to come along. But if they don't come around to presenting platform planks that appeal to you as a Christian in Canada, then you have to put away the carrot and you have to bring out the stick. And the stick is going to come out before Election Day. Now, we're going to walk you through how a Christian with a Christian heart and a love for their neighbor, and also someone who doesn't allow it to become a fleshly battle, because we're not going to be pitchforks and rakes and fire and flamethrowers in our hands. That's not what we're going to be doing. But we are going to bring out the loving discipline of the stick before the next election. And so stay tuned, stick around for that, because again, we so hope the carrot works. Because again, we really do want to see children in the womb protected. We want to see protection, all of those things that we believe that we want. Parental authority that is respected, a right of belief, freedom of religion respected, all of these things. We want all of them. That's why we're here. We're rallying around these principles that we believe in. But Lord, if the stick's required, then help us to use it lovingly, because we may need it. All right, so that's where we're at with that strategy. So we're going to begin with the end in mind. We know it's coming, but we're preparing today to do that. And you need to have that as one of your priorities if you believe in the four pillars. If you believe in the principles that undergird the four pillars, then you need to know that end is coming. That's on our horizon, and we've got to either prepare for it and to greet it and to capitalize on it as an opportunity, or meet it as a threat, because it is going to be one of the two things, and we'll keep you posted as what we feel that is as we get closer to Election Day. All right, enough on that election, on that example for today. Let's move on to your end versus the end that others have in mind for you, because this is really important. Some people don't realize there are opposing forces that believe in different things than you do, and they are working a different plan than you're working, and they want a different end for you, and we want to avoid that from happening. We want to make sure it ends well as we choose it to end. And so anyway, back right after this, and we'll get right on to that as well. Bye for now.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, if you're still with us, that is a good sign that you have in your heart a belief that I am not going to steer you astray. I'm not going to take you a place that's a bad place. I really want you to know I've got the right heart on about this. And when we talk about things like sharing difficult messages with elected representatives, it's because it needs to be done. It really does need to be done right now, in this moment, in our nation. We need to stop going along, and we need to tell them that we aren't going to go along anymore. Like that's a super important message. Again, I hope you deliver. And go back and check the videos, because I do all kind of training on how to deliver it. If you want to write an email or phone call or however you want to do it, but go back to that November, December briefing, February. And it just raises again your level of understanding as the issues that we're talking about, why we're doing what we're doing. And if you're just getting on the briefing now for the first time, all of that is online, free to you. You don't even have to pay. It's not behind a paywall. You can just go and see it at any time. All right. Let's talk about your end. Let's just talk about the destinations that you have. When you look out on the horizon of your life, when you look out and you see these opportunities, and you have all these things that you can see coming, and you want to capitalize on them, and you want to take advantage of that, and you see, okay, that's a pitfall out there. I better be careful about that. I got to prepare to defend against that. And you are reading the horizon, because that's what we teach you what to do here on the National Leadership Briefing. But there are people out there and organizations and institutions and groups that have a different mind for your life. They actually have a different perspective on how you should be living your life. And if we don't bring the things that they want for us into the calculation as to how we navigate in our own life, if we just ignore them, we're going to get blindsided by some of it. So my goal here is to just bring these issues up so that you have them on your radar screen, so that you know that they're present. I'm not certainly meaning to sow any fear into anybody about any of these issues. I just simply want you to take the information, receive it, understand, acknowledge that it's there. If you want to do more research about any particular, any one of the things that I mentioned, it's easy to find information about everything that I'm talking about here. So feel free, but just don't let the spirit of fear grab a hold of you and basically make you turtle. We can't like get paralyzed with fear just because there are opposing forces out there. Greater than he is he who is in me. You have to remember that. So moving forward. So let's take a look at some of them. First of all, there are people that are in offices, that are in office towers and in home offices and office towers and corporations and government offices, and they are actively working on ways that they can get you to conform to their view of the world, or to comply with what they need you to comply with, to actually get you so they can achieve their objectives over yours. So, for example, is that some government policymakers out there right now might feel that it's better for you to actually rent an apartment rather than owning your own home. So there is an opposing force there. They are working an agenda to move everybody out of home ownership and into apartments, and your dream is to own a home. So that's a really straightforward, opposing force example of what it is that you want for your life. But some people might also have a desire to have a large family. And the government official or some bureaucrat somewhere with a whole army of people that work with them, they might go, you know what? I don't think those large families are such a good idea. So we better be deploying strategies and enacting policies and passing laws that make it difficult for people to have large families. And so again, another example. So we have to be aware of the fact that when we have these things that we believe are the things that God has called us to. Go forward, procreate, have kids, have a family, get married, do all these things. Whatever forces there are that work against us, you have to acknowledge that they're there, working against you, because that's got to be built into your plan of how you move forward. So if you're a mother and a father and you have a dream to have a home and have 4 kids, then there are opposing forces to that. And I'm not saying don't ever give up on your dream. Don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your plan. Just you got to take that factor and factor it into your plan, that there's somebody with a different plan for your life. Second thing is that some people have a desire to live their life and not be surveilled all the time. But right now, I'm just telling you that out there in the world right now, there is a full-on plan that is being executed by civil government. And I'm talking in Canada. You don't have to go to other countries or whatever. You don't have to. This is not a China thing or a Korea thing. This is in Canada. There is a plan to create a surveillance state all around you. So you may want to have privacy, and the opposing force to that is total control and surveillance. That's what they're building right now and constructing in our state. Now they're going to do it with all kinds of different technologies, but you can, if you build how to build a surveillance state in the nation of Canada, if you just Googled that, for example, you'll come up with all sorts of things that they're doing that you will find out. They also don't want you to possess anything. There are forces out there that have this in their head that and you've probably heard it expressed like this: you'll own nothing and be happy. Now that I kind of don't like using that phrase because it almost sounds a little too tricky or cliche or whatever. It's too simple a term. They literally are making it and actively working a plan to make it harder and harder for people to possess anything. Now you might say, Doug, why would the government of Canada, why would governments generally not want people to possess anything? Well, the best explanation that I can give that's the simplest is that they are working a plan that we talked about, as a matter of fact, in the last briefing. They're working a strategy globally to roll out this new utopian world, and they have it in their mind, and they've been using AI, and they've been using all kind of technologies to build models as to how to build the perfect society, and it doesn't include you on the street resisting and claiming your right to own something like property ownership, or the right to own firearms, or the right to possess large sums of money, or a large house, or all these things. Those possessions could be turned into a resistance to the implementation of their plan. So, for example, if I really felt strongly about something and I wanted to run for office, say, and I wanted to fund a campaign, or I wanted to gather people around my ideas and build a resistance movement, I could sell my house and then I could actually fund my resistance movement campaign with it, right? Well, they don't want that. They don't want you to possess anything that in any way can be turned into any kind of resistance to the implementation of their plan. And their plan is, remember, this total surveillance state, the absolute control, and they want the conformity of everyone's society. And they've got this utopian dream to perfect society and perfect the individuals here on Earth. That's their goal. So this is why you got to know if you want to own things, and I'm talking about anything, just understand they're working a plan for you to own nothing, to possess nothing. And they're going to put up roadblocks. Yeah, they're going to increase taxation. They're going to increase the energy costs on your homes. They're going to increase all of the things. They're going to create barriers for you to becoming a homeowner, to own a car, to own anything at all. They want everybody to just simply be in rented apartments on universal basic income and under the total surveillance state control of the government. And again, you might say, Doug, that's pretty harsh stuff. But if that is their horizon, you can see how far it is away from the horizon you have for your life, right? Because you want freedom. You want freedom to live out your life and your faith with your family, living free to choose, right? So, okay, what else can you expect? Well, you can also expect there are organizations, there's 4 companies specifically right now that I know of. There may be more popping up or being funded right now, but there are 4 out there right now that have a plan to integrate you, the biological human being, into what they're generally calling, I'll just refer to it as what I've heard it referred as, the Internet of Humans. So they want to take a biological person and they want to integrate it with technology, and they want to link everyone together through this technology that is embedded inside your body. Now, if that doesn't sound a little bit crazy, and then you and I need to spend more time together, because if you're talking about putting some sort of a chip in my head or neural, and this is technology, again, there's 4 companies that I know of that are actually developing these technologies now where they can put these things inside your head, and they'll deny it, by the way, that it's for everybody, but they'll say that it's for just certain people that have certain disabilities and all that. But this is a massive thing they're rolling out, and they want everyone to be linked together inside of this Internet of Humans, biological and technology coming together as part of this Internet of Humans. Okay, now I'm not trying to get clicks when I make these videos, but I can tell you right now, just me saying that phrase is going to limit the distribution of this video if you're watching it online after the briefing's over. To battle against the algorithms that are battling against you and me, you've got to distribute that. You've got to comment on the video. You got to share the video. You got to work against it. If you just passively go, "Isn't that nice? Doug's going crazy on a video," then this is not going to be helpful to anybody. But they are in fact developing this technology to integrate you into the Internet of Human Beings. And they're going to use your data. Just so you know, this is another thing that's working against you and your plan. They're going to use your data that they collect from you on how you use the internet now, how you use AI tools and artificial intelligence tools now. They're going to use the way you interact with it to develop a plan to make you think that it's a good idea. They're actually going to create custom design for you, the message that's going to be required to create this moment in time where you go, "Hey, that sounds like a good idea. I have a chip in my brain and I never have to carry a wallet anymore." Or, "Hey, I have a chip in my brain and I never have to show my passport at the border anymore. Hey, I have a chip in my brain and all of a sudden I receive universal basic income every month. This is fantastic." So they're going to use the data and how you engage in social media. So when you're using AI tools right now, ChatGPT, when you're searching on Google, when you're scrolling on your phone, when you're going from various places and they're GPS tracking you, they're building a profile that they're going to then use to convince you in the most convincing way that it's a good idea to put this thing in your head or your hand. So I'm just telling you that that's what their end is in mind for you versus all of the other wonderful things that you and I have planned for our lives. They're working against you, and we need to be conscious of that. Again, we're not going to run around, we're not going to live in fear, but we're going to think twice before we just sit on our phones and doom scroll all day long and forfeit up the data and the things to all of these tech companies that they're going to later use against us. We're going to think twice about how we spend our money. We're going to think twice about who we elect as representatives in government. We're going to think twice about where we spend our time and our attention, which is why the last segment of today, and we're going to get right to that right after this quick break, is I'm going to show you the 3 things that you're going to need, absolutely critically need on the road ahead so that you don't have to forfeit the things that you want out of your life and to the people out there that have a different end in mind for you. Okay, so let's take a quick break, come right back, and let's talk about some solutions. I think you're going to like them too because they're the best. They're the best solutions ever. And I didn't come up with them. It's Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is completely came up with these solutions, and I think you're going to agree. They're very effective. Back in a flash. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time so far in the briefing. We are definitely on the home stretch, and we're going to just finish up here with some solutions for you. And as I say, these are things you're going to need. These are absolutely things you're going to need. And I actually can tell you that from experience. And it's not just my own experience because I've had time and time again, I get this confirmed with me all the time, and not just confirmation from Holy Spirit that these are the solutions. I'm talking about I have had real life disclosures, people who have come forward and said, this is a game changer. This is an absolute game changer for me. So let's get in it. First of all, the first thing that you're going to need is you are going to need a Bible, and not just a Bible. You're going to need your Bible. Remember when I said that there are forces out there that are working against you to possess anything? I want you, for your own benefit, to take possession of a physical Bible. I'm not talking about when you're walking around the house and you go, hey, honey, where's the Bible? I want you to be able to walk around the house and go, honey, where's my Bible? The Bible that you take with you when you travel, the Bible that you read every day. I want you to have a Bible physically in your hand that when you've got this, no, honey, this is my Bible, and your Bible's that Bible right there. And I'm telling you this because the thing that happened, well, I'll give you my example, is that when I first found out that this was the only source of truth, that this is the only source that I need to actually look at the world through the lens of what is written in here, that this is the thing that is not going to change while everything else around me in the world is changing. When I found that out and I came into that understanding and knowledge of who Jesus was, I was told to get myself a Bible and make sure that it's the only book that the church that you go to teaches out of. Like they actually told me, said, make sure that this Bible that you then will possess as your own Bible is the only book so because you don't need anything else. You don't need any other book. Now it's nice to have other books. Like I just pulled out a couple of things here, is that you've got like, these devotional books or these handbooks for leadership. These are great. These are great tools as well. But I'm saying is that you really just need to have something that you call your own. Now, if I can make a suggestion, something that helps a lot is that if you take a Bible and you see that wide margin there on the outside of the Bible there, that wide margin, if you get a wide margin Bible with big pages like that, where you can make some notes, like you can take all these, you can make all these notes on the inside, I think you're going to really enjoy that. So a wide margin Bible. This is a New King James, and the reason I chose that was because the pastor that at the time when I got this Bible, actually he told me that was the Bible that he was going to be preaching out of from the pulpit in Sunday. So I wanted to be on the same page as my pastor, my Christian pastor who teaches it only out of the Bible. I wanted to be on the same page as him. And then I also asked him on the day I got this Bible, and this Bible, I've had this right from like the beginning of my Christian walk. I asked him to write me a note on the inside of the Bible. And I said, I want you to dedicate this Bible to me because I want to take possession of this Bible that is in my hands. And so this is what he wrote in the very first Bible that I ever got. He said, may this Bible change your life as much as my Bible changed mine. Everything in it is for you. It's God's covenant with you in your lifetime. Enjoy it, experience it, absorb it, and your walk with the Heavenly Father will become one of delight. You are a source of great blessing to me. I probably could have not, I didn't have to say that, but you know what? I was though at that time. I was, and I still try to be, because the other piece of advice that I got when I first came into relationship with Jesus was I was told by the person who led me to the Lord that you want to not only get a Bible and start going to a church that actually teaches out of the Bible exclusively, but you also want to serve your pastor. You also want to serve the leaders. And they explained to me right out of the gate that this is a tough job. And they are looking for people out there to lighten their load. They could use a hand up if you can offer them a hand up. So that is what we've been trying to do all this year. But this is the thing you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a Bible that's called yours. By the way, if you go to a church and they have pew Bibles, and you don't for some reason like to say you don't have access to money or you don't have enough, there's Bibles everywhere. You can find the Bibles, but ask your pastor if you can have one of the pew Bibles. Ask them if you can take the Bible out of the pew and write your name on the inside of the Bible and take it home with you when you go home, and that you can make notes in it and you can do all this stuff, because if there's one thing I got to tell you, you will find a Bible and a Bible will find you, but you got to pursue it. And if it's a pew Bible, it's just sitting there wasted time anyway. If it's just sitting in the pew while you don't have one at home, you got to carry it with you. Also, another thing I should encourage you to do is, because they don't want you to possess anything and they want to actually try and take everything away from you, remember, at some point in time in the future, you may not have access to a Bible. So I have a little one. This is just the New Testament, but this little one here goes right in your pocket, and you can actually like carry that around with you. So I mean, I'm just saying we might end up there, and it wouldn't hurt for you to have a couple of smaller editions or smaller versions around as well. Okay, second thing you're going to need. And I touched on it actually briefly just a minute ago. Advice I got right from the very beginning is the second thing you're going to need is you're going to need to be in a covenant relationship with a church family. This is critically important in the world we live in now, and the one that those who oppose your worldview are going to try to take you in the future. They're going to try and take you places and make you do things and create scenarios that are going to be difficult for you to exist in. But if you're inside of a church family, if you're a part of a church family and you have covenanted with them to pray for them and then pray for you, for example, or share their burdens as they share yours, or participate in serving, all of these relationships growing over time, you're building an ecosystem that is a group of people that care about each other. And no matter what happens out there in the world or whatever sort of adversity comes at you, you have a family of people that you are in a trust relationship with and a love relationship with. If you stick around long enough and sow into it and nurture it long enough, you will grow to love the people that you're in. But right now, and I've said this before, now is not the time for those of us out there who kind of have a tendency to be lone wolves. I've got it inside of me. I've got this, like, you guys want to charge out on your own all the time, but don't leave your church family behind. Be a part of it. Press in, push to the center of the herd. Really, really struggle and strain and press to grow that love relationship with the people in your church family and your pastor, and honor and bless your church family members, especially your pastor right now. You're going to need a church family on the road ahead. I'm just saying this is really important. You're also, finally, the third thing is that you're going to need information from people that you need that love you. And I touched on this the last briefing because what I'm finding is that on our phones, we can, at the press of a button, we can gather information at any time on anything. The unanswered question really doesn't exist anymore because if somebody says, "Oh, who was it that was, the champion of the 1965 World Junior Championship hockey?" You could just Google that, and you'll get the answer. Or will you get the answer they want you to see? And this is my point, is that revisionist historians are everywhere right now. And with AI tools and AI becoming such a dominant part of our society, and by the way, I got to say this because, again, not to scare you, but the AI you and I are playing with is just a fraction as powerful as the AI that those who oppose your worldview are using against you. There's level of artificial intelligence that is being utilized by governments that don't share your views and values and want to dismantle your way of life and execute their plan on your life that we were talking about before, that is far superior to anything. So they can rewrite history by just, again, whatever questions you're asking, whatever it is you want to believe to be true, whatever it is you want to check out. I'm just saying they're going to start moving the needle on what is true and what is history, as they have been doing for the last many years. We've seen it already. We've started seeing the grok, when you start having conversations with AI and the answers are changing. Even now, you're noticing it when you're using these tools on a regular basis. So you're going to need to be in relationship with people that are going to give you information that you can trust because you love them. Now, I'm always going to be putting myself out as someone who loves you. I'm only ever going to try and give you the best information that I have. And I'm trying to avoid the pitfalls. I'm trying to avoid the challenges that everyone else is trying to avoid out there. But I'm just telling you, I'm not talking about me, but I'm saying you've got to really, really have good sources of quality information from someone who genuinely cares about you as the person God created you to be. Not as somebody they want to turn you into. Like, we care about you to the degree that you can have X number of dollars output and contribute to society and pay so much in tax dollars. That is what the government might sound like. What I'm saying is that your eternal well-being has to be their priority, and that needs to be your trusted sources of information. Understanding that this is the only source of truth. Okay, so I'm putting that out there as the three things: the Bible, a church family, and a source of information from that's going to give you information that is somebody who genuinely cares about your eternal well-being. Those three things you're going to need on the road ahead. And if you start working on it now, if you start pressing in and start building those relationships now and start sowing into your church family and start reading the Bible and start looking for those people in your lives to be in relationship with, I believe that you are going to be just fine, and all your eternal dreams are going to be realized, and you are going to have a blissful end. The end starts right now. What is I said before? I said, let's begin with the end in mind. That's how we're going to live from now on. The end is that we stand before the Lord and that we give an account for our lives. And yeah, you know what? I got news for you. It's going to be it's going to be a little messy conversation when it comes to me, and the Lord. But I'm just saying, if that's the end in mind, well done, good and faithful servant, if whatever that is, whatever that end is for you, whatever sparks you, is that you're going to need those three things to get you there. And I'm willing to help. Let me know how I can help. All right. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for it. And looking forward to serving you again in the future. We're going to continue to work that strategy of making sure that we've got a good quality choice on election day and that we actually have things that we care about as election platform planks with the Conservative Party of Canada. We're going to continue to encourage the people that are coming on the briefing, keep bringing people on the briefing and keep sharing this briefing out. Like, hey, if you think this might help someone else, why don't you share it out, put it on social media, spread it around. It's probably going to get taken down by the algorithms real quick. But if we keep pushing it, keep pressing it and comment on the videos and keep sharing them, then that really helps fight the algorithm. And of course, if you want to partner with us financially, it's not something I talk about a lot, but you can do e-transfers directly to Canada Family Action, our parent organization, and you just go e-transfer it's info@familyaction.ca. info@familyaction.ca. Well, thanks so much for your time today. I look forward to serving you again next month on the briefing. In the meantime, just know that I'm going to be praying for you. I'm going to be praying for your family, and I am going to continue to pray for this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.